What is going on, everybody? It's Jay, aka It's Ghost Story, back with another Phantom Parade showcase video. And today we're going to be doing something a little bit different, okay? This is for mainly subscribers of the channel. So today we're doing an EIJI tower showcase, right? But alongside that, we're also doing a sweep showcase later today. So when this video gets posted and you guys are watching it, check back on the channel in a couple of hours. There will be a showcase or sweep on this guy at A0. But besides that, let's just get into the kit overview. First things first, we have Chain Sigil. Skill 1, one hitting attack. It applies chain count to the boss by only 1. Now, this skill is going to be your bread and butter to start out most fights in the game. I would say it's a very basic type of skill. It's not going to carry you through fights, obviously, like some other units who have like skills that boost maybe their cursed energy, or it has like a crit rate increase attached to it. The main gimmick attached to this is the increased chance to dodge, because EIJI has a flat 15% chance to dodge no matter what, but he gets up to 25% when you do use skill 1. So alongside this, the more chain counts you have, the harder this skill will hit. So there are times where you may have to cycle back to hitting maybe a skill 1 if you're running out of cursed energy, and this attack will scale higher the further you go into fights. And there's also a change state attached to it, which comes with your ultimate after you go into full throttle status. Now, the issue with this skill is that there's almost no reason for you to use it in specific over the other skills that he has while in full throttle status. By other skills, that basically just means skill 3. Because the main advantage you get is you get your ultimate gauge increase for 2 turns. That's not really that special to EIJI in specific, because we have this unit that not only needs to build up his ginormous ult gauge, right? Which you may think like, oh, he has a big ult gauge, so of course I would have to invest in this. No. He has a ginormous ult gauge, but he also still needs 10 counts before he uses his ultimate. So similar to Fugasakuna, like you have to do a certain thing before you can use your ultimate. The only thing is that with Fugasakuna, you just have to use 2 skills, then you have ultimate. With EIJI, you need at minimum 3 turns of buildup before you can use your ultimate, right? So no matter how much ult gauge that you build up at like rapid fire speeds to get into here, you're going to need at minimum 3 turns to build up to this in the first place with his passive. And it's like, oh, 3 turns isn't that bad of a thing, right? But you're not exactly racing his ult gauge either, right? When you have an ult gauge that large, it's very counterintuitive to try and race it. The best thing you should do is kind of just conserve yourself. Maybe run like an ult gauge rec bit on one of your units. My recommendation would be Jogo's banner rec bit, and just rock it with that, because this, you're basically just killing your damage turn, like one of your main damage turns using this. Next is skill 2 called Face Your Sins. Now, this skill, it's a skill that I could say I probably used maybe too much during the tower showcase, and I didn't end up using it much at all during the sweep style of the run. I will say this, it's an okay skill. It definitely works under very specific circumstances. It definitely saves you curse energy depending on the boss as well. So basically, it applies a chain signal for 1 turn, and also applies provocation to whoever you're aiming at, which is good because EIJI puts himself into counterattack status, and if the boss is hitting a single hitting attack, EIJI will just counter the boss, okay? And EIJI can counter, and that also plays into his passive. It increases every time he counters. So it's not just you counter once, you know, and it's like, okay, you have your stack, and if you counter again, you don't get it. No. If EIJI counters twice in a single turn, he's getting 2 chain counts, which is very good. It helps you conserve your curse energy from using like super big skills every single turn. So basically what I would like to think of it as, you use skill 3 1 turn, skill 2 the next, and then skill 3 after, and then boom. You have all of your stacks and hopefully approaching a pretty decent ultimate gauge, especially if you did, you know, some build up afterwards. I feel like that's a nice after first ult type of game plan. So he also increases his dodge chance while popping the skill 2 alongside his taijutsu stat. So again, like I said, he has a 15% flat dodge chance. He increases it to 45% when he pops that skill 2. Then you have his change state which again, for full throttle, this move is okay. It hits pretty hard still, but again, when we get to skill 3, you'll see why you should use skill 3 more often. I tried using this skill to see the benefit of it, but the issue is that even though he does put himself into counterattack status when you use his change state skill 2, and it does have some really good scaling attached to it, and increases his taijutsu stat, the main issue that comes into play is one thing and one thing only. He doesn't have provocation during this. So somebody may be thinking, like, oh, well, why don't you just, pop provocation over here again? Listen, to put yourself in counterattack status and then not have the boss aim at you, just to go into a skill where you're going to have the boss aim at you, but it's the skill that already puts you in counterattack status anyway, it's very counterintuitive. It's not a good game plan. You're better off using a different skill, okay? This would have been solved if it had provocation attached to it. And on top of that, if you're having a good full throttle run, like that first ultimate hit and then you're going into that second hit, the boss should break for the most part, especially. So putting yourself in counterattack status for 2 turns, if you break the boss, well, there you go. Those 2 turns of counterattack status isn't going to matter because the boss can't fight back for 2 turns. So for those 2 turns, you're not really doing nothing. Then we go into skill 3, which is, in my opinion, alongside his ultimate, his best skill. So it applies 4 chain counts whenever you use it, and he hits 4 times. All right? That's really it. Okay? It's basically a skill where it's just punch, punch, punch. And it's kind of just his best skill because it builds up your passive the fastest. It has 4 counts attached to it. Same way how I explained before, you can have 3 turns and fill up his entire passive, right? For example, on limited tower floor 3, let's say, for example, you pop skill 3, you get 4, all right? Then you pop skill 2, EIJI counters the boss twice. Now it's 6. You go back to skill 3 again, that's another 4. And then boom, now you have your passive filled out. So if you do have your alt gauge build up, you can do alt on that very turn. It's a pretty simple game plan to go through. And I've also come to the realization that, balancing EIJI's curse energy isn't exactly as bad as I presupposed it was going to be. It really isn't. But let's go into his change state skill 3 because it's what matters the most. And it has the highest damage scaling, of course, and it hits 6 times. Those 6 hits matter way more than you may think. And on top of that, it boosts his crit rate for 3 turns. And you may be wondering, Jay, why does it matter if it boosts his crit rate for 3 turns? Blah, 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 blah. Because just like a lot of other yellow units, Yuta, Kusakabe, he has a crit enhance passive. All right? So he's able to give himself a damage dealt increase for 3 turns whenever he lands a crit. All right, so you want to keep that passive up as much as possible, if not throughout the entirety of your run. If you don't have it up for the entirety of your run, you're sacrificing a lot of damage, okay? And you guys will see. Like, this skill 3, after his ultimate, it's not like, it's a cool little amount of damage. Like, no. The skill 3 that comes after the ultimate is a comparable bomb. The skill 3s that EIJI hits after his ultimate is comparable to some other unit's ultimates in itself. That is how hard it hits. Okay. Then we have Chain Sigil Full Throttle. Okay, now this is what makes EIJI pretty easy to use once you get this first ultimate out, because it makes balancing CE 1,000 times easier. Because when you use it, he recovers 80 curse energy for himself. All right, but you can only use it when his alt gauge is full, obviously. And when he has his chain count to 10, which, if you guys read the skills, again, 1 chain count for skill 1, you can pop 1, right? You can get at least 1 for Face Your Sins as long as he counters, but you can get up to 2, right? If you're fighting a boss that hits you twice in a row with a single targeting attack that's, I believe, melee, because I've had, EIJI get hit by projectile attacks from bosses, ranged attacks. Obviously, he doesn't counter those. Then you have +4 on his skill 3. So obviously, before you go into a game of EIJI, you got to look and analyze, okay, how am I going to do this? Am I going to do 2 skill 1s at the start, get 2, and then do 2 skill 3s back to back, right? Am I going to do a skill 3, skill 2, skill 3 type of situation? Are you going to do 2 skill 1s and then maybe like, okay, provocation of the boss, get 2 counters, that's 4, right? And then maybe do a skill 3 and then another counter. Like, depending on how you want to do it, right? But you got to have a general game plan when using this character, because you can waste a lot of CE trying to get to here if you play very haphazardly. But when you do get here, full throttle status is actually amazing, okay? Not only does it hit extremely hard only at skill level 8, mind you. I'm trying to imagine what it would hit at like level 10, especially for A0. Like, this guy can smack down 30 mil pretty easily in general content and still hit anywhere from the 15 to 18 mil range at the highest difficulty content. Now, he ignores counterattack statuses triggered by melee attacks. Now, this right here, it's hard for me to try to imagine a boss that does counterattack that isn't like the Awasaka EX mission, and that's a red fight. So maybe for future content, they're planning to have bosses that counterattack, and EIJI will be like a monster on it. But when he's in full throttle status, he gets a plethora of increases. He gets a damage dealt increase, taijutsu increase, crit damage increase, and crit rate increase. And he now has a 50% chance to dodge. And also, he ignores darkness status. For the people that love sweep, and you're on phase 2, and you're like, oh man, EIJI just got hit by the boss with that wave that causes darkness, you're fine. He doesn't care about that in the first place. Now, this skill is amazing. The only issue is that you pop this ultimate, and then you have 1 turn to choose any of these, okay? Which I recommend you choose skill 3, all in all right? So you pop this ultimate, and then you only have a singular turn to do this, which is okay, because again, for general content at A0 with the skills he's at right now, EIJI is melting like 60 million HP in 2 turns. Just at A0, on like the standard content of the game. He is full blown running through bosses. Now, if he had the extra turn, again, it would be massively overkill, even at A0. But then you have all of his passives, which again, with every new unit that releases, the passives just get more ridiculous, or they just get like longer and longer to read. So you have the chain sigil passive, which right here, it gives you a crit rate increase, and it scales based on how many of them you do have your max count up to 10. 30% is your maximum, right? You also have the dodge chance that is attached to chain sigil, which is right here, obviously. It's a 15% dodge chance. It's flat out. And when you do dodge, you also get a special status 30% crit rate increase applied to you for 3 turns, which is really good. But you just have all of this extra stuff down here, which basically EIJI has a 50% chance right here to lose it all, okay? EIJI has a 50% chance to lose it all when he takes a melee attack. It's bad, okay? When I post the sweep video, you guys will see what it's like to lose it all right? It is really, really bad. But I'm probably not going to show in this video how bad it can get, but when you guys see the sweep video, you guys are going to see a plethora of screenshots, which is just, if you're using this character and you get hit and you're at your max stacks, it's over. It is over, and it's really bad. But the chain sigil is one of the most important aspects of his kit. Next, we have his counterattack uppercut, which again is proc from his skill 2 that has provocation attached to it, which is just, you hit the enemy, you put a chain sigil on him. There you go. Congratulations, just like I explained earlier. Then we have Ignition. Now, Ignition is also really good because it applies a debuff. So it applies a damage taken increase debuff and a 15% crit resist decrease to all enemies as well for 2 turns. Now this happens whenever EIJI reaches a 10 count on his chain count passive. It literally basically he just pops his chain count and they explode. Okay, and it hits everybody on the field. And he also boosts his alt gauge for himself. So even if you're not I guess, super close to your ultimate, at least you know, okay, I've hit my max stacks because I did chain sigil ignition. Another thing is that you can also pop it when your chain counts around 5 to 9. So you have the 5 to 9 count, and you also have the 10 count ignition. Now, you can only activate it once if it's not cleared. When it's cleared again, it can be activated again. So you have the guaranteed 10 count, and you also have the 5 to 9 count that can be activated again when it's cleared. So after you use ultimate, that is the clear in itself. You can just keep going. All right, so hopefully I got this long, I guess you could say convoluted kit out of the way. It's really not that difficult when put into the game, but I would say the tower showcase, I was very mixed emotionally on how I felt about this character, especially on floor 84. But I'm gonna like end this talking tangent, and we're just gonna go straight into the tower showcase. Okay. There goes Saki. We got our CE bonus. And look at him getting hit. Look at him getting hit. Off rip. And nope. See, look, I don't like how we're automatically targeting the minion. Like, come on, why would I want to do that? Chain declaration because the boss is gonna do like the little drop attack. Crit on turn 1, that's good. Yep, as y'all see, the little rain move. And the dodge. Crit rate boost. Now, let's see. I mean, I could just counter you for 2 turns in a row. That really is like a game plan we could have. But we're just going to do another skill 3 just cuz. Dang, I'm so glad that missed, because that move of all moves hitting Shoko is like worst case scenario. That's 1 counter. Just gonna do a skill 1. No crit. Come on, Kusakabe. Killing me, man. Shoko being hit with darkness is fine. Getting hit with stun isn't, but we're here, I guess. No crit from Kusakabe, not good. We're just going to self-buff on this turn. That's fine. Because the important part in this situation is actually the break. We're at 5 stacks on Kusakabe's ult. I mean, we're trying, man. We're trying. All right, how much damage before the combo? 24 mil. And after the combo, 27. Okay. Another crit. Let's see how much this skill 3 does. This skill 3 is probably going to put out a heavy amount of damage. Yep, 24 mil. Actually, wait. Our damage number actually went up from our ult. So we actually hit really hard right there. Impressive. We're going to bait the boss into countering us so we can at least get, I would say, 2 chain marks. Hopefully. Oh, no, it's not going to be one of those hits. Come on. There we go. At least 1 chain mark. Stun on the big cob. Wait, no. Oh, no, not stun on the big cob. I see. Alright, main boss is out the way. Countered. Now it's going to bring us to this point where we'll be just completely fine. We're fully built up, so turn 14, we're going to hit a really hard ult. And you know it's got to be a combo ult, just so we can see like the full damage since Kusakabe is fully built up. So let's see what full throttle really looks like. I mean, it's probably going to be less damage because, like, obviously no break bar in the minion, but still want to see some overkill damage right here. A lot of overkill damage. $41 mil altogether. Okay, so the highest ultimate was almost 32 million. Now, if you guys have watched my previous limited tower floor clear video, well, not previous, but like the actual limited tower floor 3 video, where I used my A2 Toji, EIJI actually cleared in the exact same amount of time. I'm pretty sure my clear was 14 turns, and EIJI also did 14 turns at A0. Now, these numbers, they're nice, but again, it takes so long to set up on this unit before you get those numbers. But man, when you get those numbers, it really does work out in your favor. Now, obviously, there's not that much taijutsu content for us to do where EIJI can actually really shine. Since his kit is very buff-oriented, floor 73 would be like a net negative to him. So to try and show him off in a better light, we'll be tackling floor 84, the big boss of yellow taijutsu stages. Okay. And it's a W crit. some tech going. That damage is good. That damage is good. Yeah, who cares? Eh? I guess we'll pre-fire it. We'll pre-fire to heal. Yeah, okay, so my idea did work. Good, 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 good. Okay. Now, EIJI needs the counter, and if he doesn't, he's low-key gonna cook us. There we go. No! Why would you do that to me? Okay. Maybe just a little bit of bad luck, you know, nothing too crazy. Okay, so the break bar is noticeably going down a little bit more. A little bit more. Shoko heal coming clutch. Now, Yaga, if you were to crit right now, you would be so based. Perfect. 13 mil. And he dodged. But we had to eat a stun right afterwards. Gross. Very gross. That's not, his damage just dips so low. You know what, big URUSHI, that's fine. That's fine. We don't even need. We don't need nothing. We didn't even get a break still. Holy low damage. It's whatever though, because we're getting on this turn no matter what. We'll pre-fire to heal on this turn. Let's see. There we go, the alt gauge build up, perfect. Then we're gonna do all of this. Now, if Yaga can do a decent amount of damage and like maybe annihilate that frog out of existence, that'd be cool. Or if Urame's Frostbite would just lock it. Oh no, Yaga's locked in. Yaga is in gear. And we just absolutely blew through that health bar. My goodness. Another 15 mil. Very nice. Well, not another 15 mil, but we still have 15 mil as our max. Which isn't too bad. Let's do Blazing Rush. And another crit, so we have more stat buffs. 13 mil. We are ripping through. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, that feels a little bit early if you ask me, but who am I to judge, am I right? That was like a team-wide stun. And URUSHI suffered the most. Our boy EIJI suffered the most right there. Okay, give EIJI the heal, do this, then this. And then EIJI, please lock in. Oh no, you're gonna hit Shoko with this. Not good. We are gonna get that counter though. That sucks. It sucks really bad. But we got the heal back, so that's good. And then what is it? We need one more. We'll just self-buff one more time. Counter. That AoE is actually fine in the situation. Okay, now worst case scenario is that we eat a stun on EIJI right afterwards. And that has happened to me before doing tests. So I hope it doesn't happen again. However, we got Minion Frog out of the way, so that means something to me. Oh my gosh, when we skip the ultimate. Okay, so we're going to heal Shoko for this turn. Frost Calm again, and we're going to do Blazing Rush. Oh, EIJI actually almost... And we got Frostbitten again. Now, don't get me wrong, this is an EIJI showcase, but I'd be lying if I said Urame doesn't carry this run so hard. Who got stunned? Everybody that's important got stunned. Okay, no. Alright, Yaga and Urame, they just have to tee up. No! Worst case scenario has just occurred. Oh, and we're gonna have to heal EIJI as well. Okay, EIJI, please. You gotta get rid of the boss, like, right here. There's, like, absolutely no negotiations. There's no... We're negotiating. We're negotiating. Well, we can heal. That's fine. We can heal. Goodbye. Goodbye. All right. Now let's please crush this man. I mean, thing. Let's see how much damage we doing here. Let's see how much damage we're doing here. EIJI, let's get out of here, man. Please. Was that overkill? I mean, yeah. But why not? Okay. So let's talk about like the trials and tribulations of this floor. For EIJI in specific. Now, the other JP content creators that I do watch on my own time have used A0 EIJI in similar circumstances. I do realize that I lost a little bit of ultimate damage during this run because I swapped off the 3-turn damage dealt boost for the Mr. Nanami Rec Bit to see a difference in damage. I had a similar run that failed on turn 21, and we were just as close to clearing on that run. But it takes a bit to get where you want to go using this unit. And the reason why is simply because of the fact he has to build up. Those turns where he has to build up is painful. And on top of the fact that, how do I say this properly? He has to build up and he has a very big ultimate gauge. So you can be built up and still not have ult. And you can get ult, but also not be built up. It's a very weird dilemma. And the early game for 84 on this guy is also so odd, because you can't exactly go like all out off rip, right? Because if you do, you're just gonna have like a full passive, but you're not anywhere near ult in the first place. However, you want to do damage, right? But his I guess you could say full throttle state isn't the most damaging, as y'all can see. I mean, even with skill level 9 in consideration for it. But after he ults, and then he's in full throttle, and he does that skill 3, he's doing really good damage. Again, on the run previously, it was like 18 or 19 mil. So, he does good damage on like his own merit. It's just the fact that it takes a really long time to get that damage, and it's just, we're in a consistent damage meta, where you're playing units where they just don't stop doing damage, and again, it has been such a long time since I've felt like I had to run floor 84 with a healing rec in order to get the clear, because the break damage is just not there. That's the main benefit that a lot of these yellow units have in comparison. I would say Toji doesn't have that benefit, but like Mechamaru Yuta, and Zonji. They all have that break damage that makes those gap periods in the floor way easier. Now, the only L that we didn't take during this run that I took in previous runs was EIJI actually getting stunned after his ultimate. Because if he gets stunned after his ultimate, it's not like, oh, well, you're still in full throttle state, you never spent your skill. No, if you get stunned while in full throttle, you lose full throttle on the next turn. So congratulations, you have to build up your passive again, you have to build up your ult gauge, you have to do everything all over again. Again, this is first impressions of the unit, but I will say this, I have done a handful of attempts on 84, and all I can really say to myself is that you put Zonji in the same situation, he's making it out way easier. Me personally, I'm speaking purely from an anecdotal perspective, I've had an easier experience using Mechamaru, just due to the nature of his break damage. I imagine if you had this unit in higher awakenings, like his ultimate could definitely chew through break bars, and his skill 3 could also chew through break bars. When you have this unit at A0, you're not relying on him to chew through break bars. And that's the main reason why I also didn't bring Kusakabe, because I originally tried to use Kusakabe, and bringing him actually kind of ruins the run in a sense, because at least with Urame, even though, again, you're not getting like the damage dealt boost from Kusakabe, but you are getting like the break damage increase and the damage, received from Urame's passive. And you also have Frostbite, which, as you saw during the run, the Frostbite turns help a ton. It is a significant help because he needs time to build up. Those periods where he's getting stunned in between, that's like millions of damage we're wasting per turn, right? Because you need to hit him, you need him to hit like a hydrogen bomb and immediately try to get back all those stacks before the boss starts like, you know, kicking your teeth in. And Urame gives you that benefit of just like, okay, the boss could kick your teeth in a lot more often, but because of Frostbite, they're not fighting back for a turn. So you have a little bit more breathing. And that's what this unit needs. But the stages on 84 doesn't really give breathing room. Like, it's a constant back and forth. And on top of that, I feel like this unit would benefit more from just like singular boss content, because if it's just fighting one boss, it's a no-brainer. It's this guy's blowing out basically any one-on-one boss you could probably throw at him that's a taijutsu stage, right? But the yellow stages aren't built like that. 65, 2 bosses. 73, 2 bosses. 84, 2 bosses, right? You can't avoid the duo lab for yellow stages. So all in all, it reminds me of Yellow Yuta, and during that showcase video where I spoke to y'all, and I was like, it feels like this unit was made for content that doesn't exist currently in the game. That's exactly what it feels like. He exists in a time period in the game where he just kind of has no place to specifically shine, because he hits hard. And again, he could just hit harder. I feel like if I swap rec bits around, but I cleared like second try putting on Mr. Nanami, so who knows? Maybe the sacrifice of damage made everything worthwhile. Maybe it helped on a turn-by-turn basis. But all in all, right? He's good at what he does in specific. It simply doesn't play well with the current scope of Tower at low awakenings. I don't know what he would look like at higher awakenings, but he's a standard unit, of course. I feel like the damage that he does is ridiculous, but the buildup you need to get to that damage takes far too long to justify investing in him at all, when there's so many other great units that exist. So, if you're looking at me in my eyes, and you're like, Jay, should I really invest in this guy? I'm gonna look at you and I'm be like, listen, there's a lot of other options you can use. He's a fun unit, don't get me wrong, but he exists. I'm probably gonna use him a little bit more, because at first I was a little bit negative about the guy. Don't get it twisted. But, this was an interesting clear. It's among the more interesting clears. I would say, I'm not sure if I would say it was more frustrating or less frustrating than trying to clear off like A2 Toji. I feel like they're very similar. But yeah, I guess we can go to the final unit review, even though this entire ramble probably feels like the final unit review. But I will see you guys in the final unit review. Okay, final unit review time. After having basically touched the main content in the game with this guy, I have some opinions. Okay, some people may not like them. Some people may agree with me. But this guy, he hurts to use, I will say. Not even just for the Floor 84 experience. The Floor 84 thing was really sloppy. Don't get me wrong. My main issue is just relying on his very RNG passive. Okay, relying on his dodge, relying on him keeping his stacks, the whole 9 yards. When I post my sweep video on him later today, you guys will see just how often in the scope of less than an hour he can sell entire runs and having to reset. During my tower runs using this character, I probably only had to reset maybe a handful of times throughout maybe, I would say, the 2 or 3 hours I was messing around with him after I summoned. But when it came to sweep, which y'all will see later, it was a brutal experience, okay? This guy, he's a very high risk, high reward unit. If you pulled him, I would say he is fun when he works, which feels very vague to say, but I feel like you will understand what I mean if you use him, okay? If you're a really lucky person, you may not see any downsides to this unit, outside of the fact maybe that he needs his chain count increase to get to his ultimate, and it takes a long time to get his damage rolling. That's the thing with this character. It takes a lot of setup before you can hit that bomb, okay? But when that bomb hits, everything works out. At A0, his performance is as I expected it to be as a unit that needs a fair bit of time to set up to actually do his main damage. But the main issue is just, again, the over-reliance on RNG on his kit. It's really, really, really bad. I don't think this unit is bad by any means. It's just the average player that plays this game does not have a box as like decked out as mine, does not have all the rec bits as decked out as mine, doesn't have the proper setups, all of that. This unit will make you struggle a lot. And even for Floor 84's sake at A0, you know, listen, all the complaints I had about EIJI in my head, this guy gets rid of it really easily. Very easy snowball effect, built-in break damage, is able to alt loop, okay? Even Mechamaru, even if you're not running like the typical alt loop strategy on him, like for example running like maybe Like-Minded Sisters, or like running Cursed Spirit School group, or just running Rest for Adults even, just to build up his alt gauge, he can still alt loop, he could still break, he can also counter, right? And you know, it's not like when Mechamaru counters, you know, there's a chance for him to miss and then he loses everything, right? He's just that guy. And then even with Yellow Yuta, right? Him, okay? He can alt loop very easily. He can heal. He can do the whole 9 yard. He has a crit passive. Everything, right? EIJI is a fun unit, but he's not a unit that like I'm head over heels for. Just because there's a lot of things going on around with his kit, and it feels like the content that we're playing on currently almost wasn't made for him in mind. Like I said for Yellow Yuta. I feel like in the future, because again, his skills has things attached to it for like fights that I don't even know exist in the game currently, for the color that he even is, right? So maybe in future content he will see more usage, but I feel like a big downside to this unit is that he needs a lot of time to build up, and majority, if not all of the main yellow content in the game outside of sweep has more than one boss on the field. So there's more chances for him to lose, I would say, what is it? His chain stacks, right? There's more of a chance for him to lose his chain stacks. There's more people hitting him. And then on top of that, like, yellow stages are notorious for their stuns, right? Notorious for their stuns. This guy gets stunned for maybe a turn or two, And it's not like, oh, you know, maybe he got stunned for a turn or two. I can just crit a little bit, get my ult gauge, and we can get things looping again. No. You get stunned for like a turn or two, you've still missed out on those chain stacks alongside building up your ult gauge. It's just not as simple as a one-track mind type of thing. It's very, like, it's a lot of thinking going on, and it's a lot of preparation for a good run. This unit is fun when he works, like I said, but he's not a unit that, like, I'm just saying, go for it, summon for him, because there's so many other options. Yellow has a painful amount of options that exist, right? And like I say to y'all in the Discord server, I don't think anything has been a must summon since Red Mahito. I don't think anything has been a must summon since all the way back there, right? Because all of the content has been cleared with units that existed prior. But you have so many options, okay? You have Yuji, you have Mekamaru, you have Toji, you have Yuta. I mean, I've even had friends who's made clears using Yellow Nanami, clearing Floor 84. So there's already pre-existing options, and EIJI kind of exists in a weird spot where it's like, you're going to be cool when you come to Standard Banner in the future, right? It's going to be really cool. Like, even just imagining being able to use this guy casually at A5 is a pretty wicked thought. But at the same time, you know, we won't see this guy in any Standard Banner in like a year. So we're going to be waiting an awfully long time, maybe like a year or like half a year, who knows, right? We'll have to see the next Standard Banner update and see if they somehow diminish, you know, even further from what they originally put. But if you want my personal recommendation of this unit, when he works, he's fun. When he doesn't work, he's painfully frustrating and really annoying. He takes a long time to set up, but there's a big reward at the end when you do get the setup. However, I do think there are other units in the game that work better or work more consistently than he does. However, if you do pull him, you're just like, I just want to use a fun unit, I can't blame you. I ain't your father. Play the game how you want, okay? That is my final review on EIJI. Not needed, pretty fun, also frustrating. That's it for me. A lot of talking in this video. This is, how do I say this? Me and EIJI have a complicated history because the first time EIJI was ever introduced, I made like a 20-minute long commentary video just speculating on his kit. And now we're over here a couple months later, and I'm sitting here at my desk for like 20 plus minutes at a time, just over analyzing this unit, which is so weird because I wasn't exactly excited for him when I heard that he was coming to global. I was like, you know, it's another unit, I guess. But when I was using him, I'm like, this unit can spark some interesting conversations, and talking about him as like a footnote currently in like all of the other listed standard units that come out this year. I mean, you compare him to, you know, Green Nanami. Ooh, you had people neck deep arguing if Green Nanami completely ratioed Toto out of the meta. I don't agree with that whatsoever, mind you, but there are people that genuinely agree with that sentiment. You have Urame. Come on now. I don't even need to say anything more. Floor 90 made extremely easy, and then on top of that, Floor 84 also has a general ease of access. Red Momo. Need I say more? And even though people do feel still a little negatively about this guy due to the SPs, I'm not going to let that blind my general judgment on the unit. Blue Yaga is still fantastic, okay? And then there's EIJI, who's kind of just in a weird bunch, right? Because it's not like Blue Yaga, where it's like, okay, Blue Yaga was him. Like, he was that guy, and then just we had a new release, and then people are like, I don't really care about you anymore. EIJI already released in an area where there's like 4 other heavy hitters in the vicinity. So he released in a very weird spot, okay? And a lot of people want to see like a new big and bad yellow taijutsu unit, but at the moment there's no reason for it because there's no new content in the game. Everything has been beaten already. So no reason for like a new power cliffing big bad until we see more content. And with the way JP's 2.5 anniversary is rolling, when will we get that said content? I don't even know. I don't even know if they have some new heavy hitter content even listed in the back pocket at this point, right? So that's my opinion on EIJI. my opinion on Prison Guy. Okay. Thank you guys for watching. If you did watch this whole yappy-mentary of a showcase video, there's probably more talking in this video than there is gameplay. But thank you guys for watching. Please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, join the Discord server. It's in the channel bio. It's where I talked about EIJI a lot. I talked about him a lot, and him failing me. Also expect the sweep video to be coming in a couple of hours. All right? Thank you for over 2,000 subscribers. But most importantly, it's been Jay, aka It's Prison Story, and I will see you guys later.